Good evening. We'll call the regularly scheduled Mandan Park District Board meeting to order. Today is Monday, September 11th, 2023 at 5:30. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay. Moving on to public communication from visitors. Seeing nobody in the crowd tonight, we will open and close that portion of our meeting and move into our agenda. If we could get approval for minutes, August 14th, 2023.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Mutter. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 1. Public hearing on our 2024 budget. Last meeting, Terry presented our budget. It's located on our website as well. I don't see anybody here for the public hearing. Did we get any feedback, much feedback at all?
No, President Michigan Commissioners, I received no correspondence from any citizen, and I reached out to both the city and the school district and have not received any comments either. So
Okay.
we are the first one to go with our second and final reading.
Okay, so we will open that portion. There's nobody here. I will close that portion of the meeting for the public hearing for our 2024 budget. And we move on to item number 2, approved for the final budget reading of ordinance 1055, making the annual appropriations for the expenditures of the Park District of the City of Mandan, North Dakota, for the fiscal year commencing January 1, 2024, ending December 31st, 2024, and making the annual tax levy for the year 2023. What are the board's wishes? Approve, amend, no motions? No motions will be here a while.
I'll move to approve the motion or the ordinance.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Mutter,
Second.
second by Commissioner Melhoff. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you for, again, the budgeting process and making it easy for us to understand and not making it difficult for our taxpayers. All right, moving on to item number 3. Consider for approval to RFP a 5-year exclusive beverage contract.
President Michigan Commissioners, every 5 years since 2001, I believe it was, then we first started, we had Coke from 2004 to 2008. And then we've had Pepsi for the last 15 years. The actual contract ends at the end of January 31st of 2024. We are doing the RFP now because we met with the vendors last week and the week before. They need 60 days turnaround to be able to present to their supervisors and corporate to be able to get approvals. And then we will bring that before you in November for approval. And then that allows 60 days between December and the end of January to switch out any coolers or any type of merchandising in our closed facilities. And then the facilities that are open, we try to get, like Stadium Sports Complex would be open, the All Seasons Arena. We would do those as soon as possible, and the ones that are closed, like the golf courses over the winter months and Raging Rivers, gives us more time to pull out the equipment if it were to change hands. As you can see, we have what's called an annual fee, and then we have a rebate and commission. Just to review, anyone in the Park District, including the Mandan Park District, ran concessions have to pay the same price. So the dollar amount that we get back from Pepsi or Coke on what their pricing of their cases will be, we will also pay the same price as our concessionaires that utilize, like the racetrack, rodeo grounds, the baseball complex, Stadium Sports Complex, softball fields. All of those are ran by concessionaires. Some groups do pay a 10% commission in addition to the cost that they have to pay. Some do not. Those are things that we're working to change as we move forward. Right now, today, we're taking 10% from the rodeo of gross sales. and also Starting Sports Complex. We will be switching to the racetrack and then working with the baseball club. But again, the baseball club's putting a large investment into our facilities, so we haven't really pushed the envelope in regarding to that commission. So today, all we're talking about is the exclusive contract with either Coke or Pepsi for the Park District. So we are presenting the bid, as you can see, a flat annual fee, and then the rebate. The rebates are off vending and also off of cases of pop that are bought by people who utilize our facilities. As you can see, lucratively, it ranges anywhere from the low end 200 all the way up to almost $250,000. All of these funds go to our capital improvement fund, where these dollars then are used district-wide for all sorts of improvements from every department that we have in the Park District. Instead of trying to allocate each one to a certain facility, we just felt capital improvement at that time was the best way to go about that. So what we're asking for tonight is just approval to RFP for another 5 years, and then we will bring these bids back to you as they roll out, and we'll give you kind of a scenario of what options they give. We're right around 3,200 cases of pop that we sell a year. So overall, I think it's a good project for the Park District to participate in another exclusive contract.
So Cole, for clarification, we have proposals will be received before Monday, November 6th. That one, will we look to accept one of these proposals at our November meeting?
Correct. That's the following week.
So that, okay, the following
Yeah,
week.
so it gives Terry and I and staff the opportunity to review and make sure that the difference of rebates versus difference of, it's come down where Terry did a nice job 5 years ago. We actually were within like $3,000 of what we sold, what we actually received for this year. So definitely it's worth the investment to say, okay, here's your product cost, here's your rebates, depending on what we sell and what we don't sell. That's how you can determine, because the flat rate of the annual fee is pretty guaranteed. It's the rebate commissions that actually put us over the top.
Okay.
Cole, why is the annual fee back from like in 2009 versus today, 8,800 versus the 34? Is that just usage, overall usage?
It can be usage and product costs. You know, some, like Pepsi, obviously the annual fee was lower, but the rebates were higher. So back then, we weren't taking commissions from user groups that were selling products, where then now we are starting to transition that way. So that's why you're seeing a higher guarantee and a lower rebate. And you got to remember, when we sell pop products, you know, we sell them at Raging Rivers and the golf course that the Park District controls. So if our product costs are down and we still sell a lot of pop, we're making more money on the back end than we are from rebates.
Any other questions for Cole?
I would move to approve the advertising for proposals for exclusive soft drink provider for the Mandan Park District for 24 years, 2024 through 2029.
Motion by Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Freilich. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item number 4, consider for approval investment policy. Something we, with the ever-changing rates of our CDs, and I know Cole and I visited about, sometimes we have to wait before we reinvest money, whether we're in a rotating cycle with our CDs, to be able to, I guess, give some leverage to, if you saw in there, give some leverage to get those reinvested instead of having to wait a month and maybe miss out as they mature. So, thus this policy. So, Cole, you want to talk about that?
Yep, so President Meskey and Commissioners, we've operated kind of loosely in a way that the board's always been aware of what we were doing, but when we have to reinvest, when a CD matures or terms out, that we're able to reinvest those funds. And we've always ran things through our administrative portfolio. All financial documents require 2 signatures between President Meskey and myself. So there is communication as far as what we're trying to do. And as President Meskey stated, you know, interest rates are in that 4.9 and 5.2, depending on where you're at, depending on the terms. Terry does a good job, and we communicate, here's how much we have in our reserves, what we need for operating, what we don't need. So we do 3, 6, 9, and 12-month kind of rolling CDs so that we have dollars coming off and coming on. So that way we're always covered what we may or may not need. But as you see, the CDs that we have are generating large returns for 6 months, and so I think we can continue to take advantage of that. I think it's best practice for the Park District. The policy is just to put something in writing so that as Terry and her department are working on developing additional accounting policies and things. We're just trying to create these as we go along. I think every year we just got to review those in our portfolios and tweak as we go. But we work together on this, pretty simple and straightforward. It really limits on what we can invest in, and really it limits it to CDs and high interest earning savings accounts, along with any type of money markets that are related to FDIC insured. So overall, I think it's a very simple policy that protects everybody, and when we're doing our audits, we can show that we have this policy, and that's why we're doing what we do. Doesn't mean that we wouldn't be communicating. We did talk
Right.
about in our monthly financials, we can show a report, or as a term of a CD ends, we can give that report and show you what the interest was going, so it shows our cash balances.
And actually, isn't the trend right now, some of the shorter term are higher paying out, like the 1 versus the 3 years seem to be paying out even more. You know.
Yeah, we just got rates today for 6 months or 12 months, the exact same, 4.5, I think is what we heard. So we're trying to keep our dollars in the banks, institutions that we are at today, and just taking those savings dollars and put them into a CD when they're sitting there. So we're not looking at moving dollars from one bank to a different bank because of different rates. We're just taking the existing dollars that we have and putting them in CDs.
Cole, it's going to be a crazy question then. Terry's not going to be here for 10 years. Is this policy? I trust Terry way too much. Maybe that's the problem. I'm kind of concerned about the future more than I am now about this policy, because I think the board still needs to know what's going on, and that's my only worry, that the board and the public, because when you bring that stuff to the public or in these meetings, we hear it. But if we do this and you're not there or the president's not there, will it continue to show up versus coming to the board? That's my only question or worry.
I think as administrators and obviously an accounting manager, our responsibility would be to show you monthly where our CDs are invested and then show the returns. I think in our budgets, we'll be able to accumulate and show where those are. But as far as the investments, the most that we can do is 12 months at a time. So if for some reason, if we want to review these policies and the board's not comfortable with that, we definitely can tweak that. And if it wants to be changed that we bring every CD back to the board, we definitely can. I think the intent of this is to minimize the dollars that we have in savings today that are getting less than 1% and putting them into I guess I'll call it a CD or some type of money market or an investment, I guess, that will give us a higher return on our dollars to give us additional revenue down the road. So I don't know if
So I think in the proposed policy, it talks about not to exceed 12 months without board approval. So I think we would obviously, if we're going to go more than 12 months, you need to bring it to us. So I think there's kind of some checks and balance. The problem is we need to stay on top of, are we going to be paying out, or is there an opportunity to look down there and go do a 3-year investment as opposed to, a few months? What would the changes be, Commissioner Munder, that you would propose? That's why, obviously, we have this in front of us.
Well, that's where I've been stuck for all afternoon, because I've read this 3 times and I don't know how to do it, because getting those interest rates would be great to get. I just want to make sure that the public knows what we're doing, so it doesn't look secretive. And I don't mean it in a bad way, but I just don't want it to become I don't want us to go into a hole where this is becoming, future down the road, that it starts that things are going to, something might happen, and I'm maybe a little too cautious. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
So what would you like the policy to read? I mean, I understand what you're saying. I guess we're all acting in good faith, I think, but I do see that, I guess, everything we do is public knowledge anyway. Are you
Yes.
are you stating more of, hey, this is what's been done? I mean, he does say we'll share it in financial, but would it be a better agenda item to bring back to say, this is what we've invested in, or
Yeah, maybe that
forward
would
a little
be,
bit more?
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's trying to hide anything.
No,
think
I
we're
know
trying
that.
to
I know that.
Get the best bang for our buck, that if we can get things invested
Yeah.
sooner as opposed to.
Well, as an example, President Meskin, Commissioners, we have dollars in savings account, and internally, if one bank is given a higher return versus another one, we move the dollars around internally. That's just how we operate a business. And in this situation, it just happens to be CD rates are so high. And in prior years, we've never had this situation where their CD rates have been as high. They have been in the last 5 years probably or more.
Yeah.
So it's a good market to have reserves invested in a way that I guess would save tax dollars down the road long term, because we're getting this 5% interest on our dollars and hopefully using those dollars and allocating them back towards other projects that we wouldn't be able to today. Remember, we do get audited every year. We will have monthly financials that we have to submit. And I guess Terry made a comment here, just do we want monthly reporting like we are? We're going to provide, like, here's where all of our CDs, here's how much we have invested, here's when the term expires. I don't know if we're going to get monthly interest, but when the term ends, we definitely can bring that to your attention in the financials.
Maybe, I'll go for that.
As a separate report. Is that
As a
what you're
separate
saying?
report, and it, again, I'm not looking for a long, but just so the public knows what we're doing, and as us other board commissioners know what's going on too, because I just want to make sure everybody knows what's going on, because whoever's president after you, or I want to make sure they're covered and protected too.
And I think I would compare it to the sales tax collection that we put in every month. So even though we show a history of that, what we're collecting, we put that in there every month. It kind of shows you what the collections are each month and where we're at and what our debt payment is versus what we collected. And so it'd be very similar to that.
I'll go for that.
Okay.
And I see where you're coming from, but I also think that the public, the citizens of Mandan would be disappointed in us if we didn't move forward with something like this, because we are losing the opportunity to gain money that can be used to better our parks without having to tax our citizens higher.
So I think a good compromise is what we're saying, just to report that out. As commissioners see that report, to say, hey, I have a question about this investment or this CD, why did we go 3 months instead of 6? Okay, that is our job as a board to do that, is to question those things. And I do think, again, we're all acting in good faith. The numbers are going to be always there, but you're just asking them to be brought more to the front so it's easier to understand. So, I mean, we're all about transparency. We have nothing to hide as a board, but I think as we look at what our returns are on those, we obviously want some input and maybe see some things down the road that maybe we can invest. The good news is they're not long-term. When they come out, if we had to take one out early, is it my understanding we would just lose the interest gained on that? Is that the penalty? Like a 6-month CD, if it's taken out at 5 months, we would lose all the accrued interest from the beginning date.
That is
right?
correct.
Okay. So in emergency situations, we could still pull money out, just not with that interest.
And I think the intent, Commissioners, is we have dollars in the vision fund, so that are restricted, so those dollars can't be spent unless it's approved by the board. So those sitting in a longer-term CD versus operational funds that maybe for 3 months are going to probably be in the shorter terms, but the ones that we can't touch without board approval, those dollars are going to have a longer term.
So would it be safe to say we should add something to our policy that specific investments will be reported in a separate report to the board?
Yeah. No, we can work on that. We can present it next
So
month.
let's table this and we'll
Yeah.
come back and
We
we'll
can
read
put
it
some
with that
different language in there and
Okay.
work with Commissioner Mutter if there's additional language, and we can bring that back for next month.
And, okay, yeah. One of the checks and balances that maybe not everybody knows is when Terry or Cole want to move money, I actually either get a phone call or an email approving of that, the reason behind it, where it's at. So they're just not moving money by themselves either. So there are some checks and balances, but transparency, obviously, we want transparency. So thank you, Commissioner Mutter. Okay, so we'll table that, and we'll hopefully clear that up next meeting. Anything else on the policy we want to discuss? All right, item number 5, Commissioner and staff reports.
Just to add, staff are leaving tomorrow for the state conference up in Grand Forks. We leave Tuesday morning early and we'll get back late Thursday afternoon. So good opportunity there. Other than that, just a reminder, the Rough Rider public hearing is on the 21st at 6. And then there is the Mandan placemaking grant, excuse me. That is also the 21st. Just had that found out today at our meeting that we had. I believe that one starts at 5:30. I'm not exactly sure of the location this time. I can send that out if you want to attend. And then obviously the letters went out to the citizens in that development around the boat ramp. 158 letters went out. I received one email so far, not supportive of it, which is definitely their opportunity to present. We'll see how that presentation will go next month. The plan is to have the public hearing here. The city and the county will have representation in addition. If there is a large attendance, we plan on using the other room that we can have it live in there, and then people will be able to come over here and present accordingly.
So Cole, can you make sure in our packet to include any letter of support?
Yeah.
And letter against, just so we have
Absolutely.
that information coming in?
Yeah, they'll all be part of the packet. Yep.
Okay. All right. Terry, anything? Okay. Commissioner Mutter?
I just want to bring up about the rodeo arena and the Starion complex. One weekend, I'm at the racetrack on a Friday night. Saturday and Sunday, there's a high school rodeo. And Cole and Dave put together a Region 4 football tournament that had 5 football games up there. And going by the Universal Playground, the shelter is rented. And I want to make sure, I want to bring it up to everybody that it is a great feeling to see all our stuff being used and enjoy what we do have, because it is wonderful. From the rodeo arena to the racetrack to the football field with the turf, and then you go to the Universal Playground equipment and you see all the kids playing. It's just a nice, heartwarming feeling. And they do call me Mr. Hallmark, so I kind of had that Hallmark feeling when I saw it. So I just want to thank everybody for that. So
Commissioner Hallmark. Like, got a ring to it. Commissioner Freilich.
I've got nothing.
Commissioner Mello.
No report for me.
Commissioner Scott.
Was out to Prairie West at lunchtime today, met with Brent just real briefly, and just so thrilled with the staff that we've had out there all year. I know end of season stuff comes around where people leave and go back to college and such, but to be at 24,000, almost 500 rounds at the end of August for Prairie West and an additional 16,000 at Muni, that's phenomenal. The courses have been in great shape, and just kudos goes out to all the staff at the golf courses.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Scott. Just a couple questions on the financials. Is Raging Rivers, I know we're closed, are all the financials in on that? Those looking at,
For the most part, for this season, yes, we have everything. Obviously, there's a few expenditures that continue on through the rest of the fiscal year with some of our staff salaries that are allocated there and utilities. But again, for the most part, it is complete and we had a successful season.
very successful, yeah, very much so, very good. Okay. With that, can we get a motion to pay our bills?
I'll make a motion to approve payment of the monthly bills.
Motion by Commissioner Freilich,
Second,
second by Commissioner Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. As Cole had mentioned, a couple of future meeting dates for Park Board Commissioners. On September 21st, we will meet out at Rough Rider Park for a public meeting to look at possible renovations and get input from local residents at 6 p.m. Do we have a makeup date, or is it we just going to do what we can to make that one work?
In the public notice that we put with the makeup date would be October 9th, unfortunately, the same time as the boat ramp one, but
Okay.
we're hoping we have good weather.
Huh. Can Okay, so also on October 9th is, like Cole said, our regular park board meeting, along with a public hearing on the proposed boat ramp here at City Hall at 5:30. With that, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Motion
I'll
by
second.
Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Mutter. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.